Good morning, there we go. Come on. Good, come on. Give God some praise in this place. Good morning, Restoration Life. Man, happy Father's Day to all my fathers. Can you got fathers make some noise in this place? Come on. Yeah, it's Father's Day today. Man, you guys are awesome. It's an awesome day. I want you guys to just look at a guy around you and say, Happy Father's Day. And if you're not a father in the house, receive that as a prophetic word. Happy future Father's Day, right? So we wanted to celebrate the fathers in the house today. We ended up, we want to give a gift on behalf of Restoration Life to one of you awesome fathers this morning. You guys ended up getting a raffle ticket, correct? So I'm going to go ahead and mix this real quick. And trust me, there's no favoritism. Jimmy tried to bribe me earlier today and said, let's go halves. I said, no, Jimmy, I'm not going to do that. All right, so I'm going to pick one out. Yeah, if you can move this over. Pick one out real quick. Got it. All right. I'm going to count the last three numbers on your raffle ticket. You guys ready? 666. Who's got that? We're going to lay hands on you if you have that ticket today. No, last three numbers right here. 172. 172. Who's got 172? Raise your hand. Come on, I see somebody. Come on up, man. Give them a round of applause. Come on up. Tackle him. He has 666. Tackle him to the floor. Let's lay some hands on him. Happy Father's Day, man. Congratulations. Here you go. Come on, one more round of applause. You're awesome. Awesome. God bless you guys. Well, you know, as you guys know, I don't know, I'm sure you guys can agree with me. Fathers have like the most awesomest jokes in the world, right? Like I know when I give my daughters jokes, like I bust up really, really loud. And I'll look at them and they'll have like this serious face. One time my daughter was like, that's not funny, bruh. And I'm like, wait, first of all, my joke was awesome. And second, don't ever call me bruh. I'm not your bruh. I am your father. Like, I will whoop you into tomorrow, right? So on that note, we have a quick game that we wanted to have you guys witness. It's called Dad Jokes. If I can have Pastor Max and Pastor Eddie come on up. So the way this game works is they're gonna take turns doing dad jokes, and whoever makes the other guy laugh gets a point. And we're gonna have 3 minutes for this game. Whoever has the most amount of points at the end of 3 minutes wins the game. All right? So we're gonna start. Yeah, come on, one more. Pray, come on. Let's get ready. Let's get them prepped. We're gonna go ahead and start with Pastor Eddie.
What did the buffalo say to his kid when he dropped him off at school?
What?
Bye, son. Okay. Did he laugh? I'm just asking because
Smirk. It was a little smirk.
What do you call someone in a wheelchair who runs away from home?
I don't know.
A rollaway. A rollaway.
Nothing. You gotta breathe after these jokes.
So a duck walks into a pharmacy and says, "Give me some chapstick and just put it on my bill." No?
Bill?
Duck? You know, duck has a bill.
No.
Okay.
Wasn't feeling that one. How many lips does a flower have?
2?
Oh. Yeah, it's 2.
It was
2
yeah.
lips?
Yeah, 2 lips. Yeah, okay. What do they call 50 Cent in Zimbabwe? $4 million.
Oh, that's what, yeah, there you go.
It's got to come out. That's not how it works. Okay. Why did the Apple Watch lose the fight to the grandfather clock?
I don't know why.
The clock had hands. Clock had hands. I got dinged for that. He should get dinged.
What do you call a cow with no legs?
What do you call a cow with no
Ground beef.
That's a point. He laughed at his own joke. He laughed at his own joke. Tied up. 43 seconds left. Come on.
Why did the smartphone need glasses?
I don't know.
Lost all his contacts.
That's a point.
Okay. How do you make a handkerchief dance?
How do you make a handkerchief dance?
Put a little boogie in it. Hey. Hey.
I honor that you were very committed to it. I honor that.
7 seconds.
Would you like to hear a joke about construction?
Yes.
Can't. I'm still working on it.
And time up. Come on. 2-1. Pastor Max wins
What?
this one. Come on. Give him a round of applause. Good game. And we'll let Pastor Eddie take it away.
I had one more. Where is it though? I had it right here. It's so bad. Oh man. All right, so what did the baby corn say to the mama corn? Where's popcorn? Come on, somebody.
You do one more?
Nah, I'm good. Oh yeah, do one more.
Where's a good one? Why couldn't the toilet paper cross the road? It got stuck in the crack.
All right. Come on, let's give it up to the winner, Pastor Max. One. Hey, so today is Father's Day, and it's a fun day. We wanted to do something a little bit different today. I think we did this years and years and years ago, and we wanted to pick out some dads. And how many know that we should honor the godly fathers that He's placed in our life? Come on, how many would agree to that? Right? I think that if you've been blessed enough to grow up in a Christian home, I think that you should honor him today, because being a godly father, being a godly man, being a godly husband in today's society is no easy task. But there are not enough godly fathers in the kingdom. And so we understand that we also have spiritual fathers, fathers that have mentored us, spiritual fathers that have been an example to us, that have influenced us. And Pastor Max and I chose a number of guys out of the congregation that exemplify all of that. And so I want to ask a number of the men to the platform today. First, I'm going to call Pastor Max Yule. Second, I'm going to call Jimmy Hardesty to the platform. I'm going to call Ron Pike to the platform. I'm going to call Rick Wright to the platform. I'm going to call Aaron to the platform. Just awesome men of God. And just real quickly, wanted to share just a couple quick things with you. These are men that have been tremendous influences here at Restoration Life. They've all got families. They've all got backstories. They've all come from different walks of life, and yet you can see the love of Jesus in them and the love of Jesus on them for their family and their children and the call of God. And we're just so honored to have men like these and men that are sitting across the pews here in our church. And so Ron was an elder here for a little over 9 years, or close to 9 years, and just been a tremendous leader and life group leader here at Restoration Life. Aaron is a youth leader here at Restoration Life, just doing a tremendous job. Then we got Jimmy Hardesty, who's a life group leader as well, and part of the Torrance campus, and also helps out with youth. And we got Rick Wright in the house with the Men's Tribe Ministry, and he's a mentor here at Restoration Life leader here, and then we got Pastor Max, who oversees the youth and young adults. And I thought it would be neat for all of us just to talk about what a godly father looks like, and some of the struggles of staying a godly parent, staying a godly father. I thought we'd make today a little bit different, a little bit more relaxed after last week's service on forgiveness. You know, I hope you were blessed with that. We're going to continue Red Letters next week, but wanted to ask the guys, you know, a number of questions, because being a father, being a husband, being a leader in your home, you know, God holds us to a standard. How many know that? In fact, the Bible's very clear that if your house isn't in order, that you can't even lead in his house. And so it's important for the fathers to understand, the husband, the men of God to understand that God has anointed them and created them to be spiritual leaders in their home, to be the pastors of their own house, to lead well, to have a godly exampleship. And today we've got those men here on the platform, and just want to ask them a number of questions. I'm going to start with Ron. And Ron, you've got 3 beautiful daughters that you've raised, and you're a grandfather now. And you and Rosie's one of our great teachers here in Kids Life. Can you just maybe share with us a little bit about, of course, your upbringing, because you were raised in a Christian household, and then now you were able to father 3 beautiful girls. And just tell us a little bit about that story, because I know some of them got married, some of them had kids, and maybe you could share with everybody just kind of that journey.
So, yes, 3 years ago, I had 3 grown daughters, and as of today, I've got 3 grown daughters and 2 son-in-laws and 3 grandchildren, so really awesome. Something that I wanted to just share is that when my girls, even before they were born, I started praying for them as soon as I knew they were there. I know that for my grandchildren, as soon as I found out my daughters were pregnant, I started praying for them. And what's really great is I know my dad, who's now 95, he's praying for them too. So it's just one of those things that's kind of the more prayer, the better.
So good, so good. I saw your dad here earlier. Is he still here in the service, or did he already get?
He was at the 9:30
Yeah,
service.
9:30 service. I just love your dad. Such an amazing man of God. And so today, now you're a grandfather. And what do you feel, what do you believe is your responsibility as a man of God, as a Christian, to not just your daughters and your wife, but now to your grandchildren?
Well, my grandkids are awfully tiny, to be quite honest. All of them are 2 years or younger. But the easy thing, and I think all the grandparents know this, is it's easy to show them love, you know, to let them know that they're special. I think that God, it's kind of how God views us, that every one of us is special to him. And it's really easy as a grandparent to just see that little baby and love them to death. Well, that's the wrong phrase. Love them like crazy. How's that?
And do you feel any responsibility over them?
Yes and no. That's probably the wrong answer again. What I really like is I get to play with them, I get to be there with them, but my real responsibility is helping their parents. I mean, I help them, but my goal is to help their parents to raise them up to be godly kids, good, responsible kids.
Amen. Amen. That's good. You know, the Bible declares that it's the father's responsibility to leave an inheritance to the children and to the children's children. And that isn't only a monetary thing, even though it's a wise thing. It isn't just a monetary thing. We have a responsibility as dads to leave a legacy of a relationship with Jesus. That's our responsibility. And so it's good to leave them something that they can start life with, but there's nothing better than leaving someone they can do life with. Did you hear that? It's okay to leave them something to start life with, but there's nothing better to leave them with someone they can do life with. And Jesus, they could do life with Jesus for all of eternity. And so there's nothing better that you and I can do as dads, as grandfathers, and as great-grandfathers than to leave a legacy of a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Thank you so much, Ron. We appreciate your wisdom and your insight. Also, you got a great life group in Redondo Beach. Yeah? Great life group in Redondo Beach. Great teacher. And, next I'm going to go to Aaron. So Aaron, as you well know, he's a youth leader in our church, but he's also a single father. Not a single man, ladies, a single father. I need to clarify that because I don't want to get cut later by a Latina that's in, but you're a single man, or wait a minute, single father, right? Sorry. Single father who's raised a beautiful 10-year-old girl, Layla. Can you share maybe a little bit about your journey and being a single parent as a Christian?
Absolutely. Actually, Layla, if you can stand up real quick, actually. She's actually in the building right there.
Hey!
Say hi. Yeah, it was crazy. I remember it was 2009 when I found out I was actually having a baby. And I just remember coming home one time, and my parents were just getting a divorce, and I came back, and everything was just torn into pieces. My dad wrote 50-50 on everything, and it was just we just walked in what is going on? And I remember
You mean he literally ripped stuff apart?
some of the stuff was torn into pieces, the couch, the table, he wrote down the vacuum cleaner with a Sharpie, has been put 50-50 on it. The couch was torn up in pieces. It was just so surreal. It's what is going on here? And then my girlfriend at the time was 6 months pregnant. So I was just okay, I could have let that have been a distraction and run away from responsibility and be I have too much going on, I can't handle this. But I always knew that I wanted to be a dad, I wanted to be a father. So that was the perfect time to even step up more to the plate and then make sure that I was not going to be like that when I had my kid.
Wow. And how much of your personal relationship with Jesus played into how you raised Layla?
Oh man. I actually remember, it's actually, Natalie's actually invited me to the church when I was working at the UFC. And I just remember I was actually in a dark place and I couldn't get out of it. And then when I came here, I actually met Pastor Max for the first time. And I looked up the app, Restoration Life app, and I saw the life groups actually. And I texted him. Not sure if you remember the text that we did. I was hey man, I said, I'm in a dark spot. I really need to be connected with somebody. I need to be around a lot of men. I need to get out of this, situation I was in. And it took me a couple months of this kind of going and listening and being discipled, but I was always here and I was always ready to serve and putting others first before myself, my situation. So, and that's what allowed me to be in the position I am now, is just being just a good, yeah. A little nervous.
Right on, it's okay. So what would you say your favorite thing to do with Layla is?
Oh man, we actually do a lot of stuff, but sometimes we actually just actually talk and connect because she's actually going to 5th grade right now, which is pretty crazy. So she comes home, it's saying all this new stuff and all this new slang, and I'm just what the heck? Because it's not my daughter, A couple months ago, I went to Target to get a sports bra or a support bra, so I was this is crazy, So this is the different stages, So it's really enjoyable. This the things that I get to do and the new memories that we get to build, whatever that we're doing. And sometimes she forgets I was a kid at one time because she's how did you know that? How did you know how to do that? It's I was a kid at one time. So just being able to share is really awesome.
Wow. Little TMI, but that's okay. It's all right, being honest. It's all good, keeping it real. What would you say has been the hardest thing in your parenting with Layla, because there is a stepfather, right? There's a stepfather involved. And can you maybe share your experience with that and maybe helping other single parents that are in the house that might help them navigate that a little bit better, as opposed to being in all-out war with the others? Then how important is it for you to have a great relationship with the others so that she can grow up the right way?
Man, when I remember when we first had Internet for Good and we're just kind of just talking, saying okay, you're gonna have her this week, I'm gonna have her this week on my days off, and figuring it out. And in the back of my head, a part of me was just man, I'm kind of scared and kind of nervous, because when she does find somebody, it's just now I'm gonna have to compete with the person, just to earn the love for my daughter. But then I was no, it's not about that, And then when it got to the point where she did get married, she got married 3 or 4 months ago. And we always had made a little contract or thing where if we date somebody and they're ready to beat Layla, then we got to beat the other person first, which is super important because we want to know who's around our daughter, who's going to be upbringing them and, feeding into them. They're going to be around them 24/7. So I remember when we all first met, it was like really like nerve-wracking and terrifying, and like we were all sweaty. We had the water, but it was like gone in like the first like 2 minutes because everybody's just like, "What do we do?" But then we just kind of got down to it, and we had prayed first, and that just kind of set the tone for us to be really open and honest and transparent with each other. It's like, hey, this is not about me battling you or who's gonna speak wiser into her, who's gonna take her to church more. It's not about that. It's just we're all there for Layla to have her grow, to be a great daughter of God. It was awesome. So yeah.
That's good. That's good. What would you say to any single father in this room right now that, for whatever reason, has found himself raising his son or daughter or multiple children? What would you say to them in relationship to Jesus? What can you encourage them in this morning?
Definitely just to be always listening to your kids, because they're going to go through a lot and they're going to have a lot of different friends, and be careful who your kids hanging around a lot of times, because there's a lot of negative, obviously a lot of bad stuff. But when you get to the point where you are open and she can't tell you everything, when she gets older, she's going to experience a little bit more stuff in life, and she's always going to keep on being open with you if you continue to listen and not being mad or upset, and just bringing it back to the Christ and the covering and just praying.
Amen. Thank you so much for that. Can we give him a big round? It's good. Ron, can you maybe share any kind of wisdom to any grandfathers here? That maybe you can just give them some really good spiritual insight on being there for the grandkids and the girls?
Oh, I was just going to say have a lot of fun with them, but
That's good.
That's my
good.
spiritual insight.
That's pretty spiritual for me.
But I'd say pray for your kids as parents, pray for your grandkids as they're growing up. I'd say start praying for your grandkids, who they're going to marry even now.
Come on.
Like I say, you can't start too soon. And then have a lot of fun with them.
And have a lot of fun. Thank you. Next, we're going to bring up Rick Wright. Come on. With Tribe Ministry. He's part of our security team, also here at Restoration Life. One of the things I love about Rick, and some of you may or may not know, is this guy's a beast when it comes to working hard. And he spends a lot of time, man, even traveling to locations to go do what you do as a technician. And your wife, she's technically a stay-at-home domestic technician, but she's also a contractor, not like an assassin or anything, but she's a photographer. She does beautiful photography. She's a model. Yeah, she's amazing. She takes your children to, for a lot of people that don't know, some of Rick's children have been in commercials and in Disney, and so they go to do auditions, right?
Yeah, she's a mama jeer.
A what? A mama?
A mama jeer.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but okay. Okay. And then of course you got Orion, who just started in BMX.
Yeah, we just got him into that.
Yeah, and we're dying to get the kids involved in that. And I want to ask you, because you're an entrepreneur, you have your own business on the side.
Correct.
Right, which is an amazing business. You work crazy amount of hours. You travel a lot. Your wife's super busy, but yet you make time. And not only do you serve as a leader at Restoration Life, but you're a phenomenal leader in playing with your children.
Right.
And I want you to talk a little bit about that, but I think too many dads don't know how to do that right.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's really easy to get caught up in work. I think that's kind of one of our faults as men is, we take this ownership of providing for our family, and we sometimes make that first. And that's a mistake. It's always God, your wife, and then your kids. And we get those three mixed up all the time. So I think it's super important to come home from hustling and then leave it at the door. You're stepping back into your real family here, not just your work life. And it's important to play with your kids, love on them, show them how to love on other people, and like Ron said, have a good time with them. That's super important.
Yeah, and you seem to be able to do that really, really good. And how important is it for you to show your kids how, hey, listen, we can work hard, we can play hard, but we're a family in Christ, and we put God first. How?
I mean, as a Christian, it's kind of instilled in us to love on other people, and that's taking care of other people, not just your friends and family, but people on the street. I mean, I'm super fortunate where God's blessed me with this loving heart, and it's my job to show my kids the same thing. So we'll, hand out cheeseburgers or something like that. I'm super stoked because my kids remember the names of a lot of these homeless guys that I pray with, and it doesn't get any better than that. And so just learning how to balance that out, not getting caught up in the rush, and showing everyone around you the love that God's given us.
Man, that's so good. That's so good. Really, really good. Thank you. Thank you for being a godly example. You also do mentoring, for kids that are fatherless on our campus. Can you talk a little bit about that?
If there's any adults, any parents, any single folks that need some guidance for their kids or grandkids, we can help. Just reach out to any of the tribe's leaders.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's give Rick a big round of applause. Man, is anybody learning anything right now? All right, I'm going to go to Pastor Max, and Pastor Max is the father of 3 beautiful children, 2 of which who are special needs children. And in fact, your very first son, Malachi, didn't really get to spend a whole lot of time with you because you were sent off to war. And today, you're a part of the pastoral team. You're crushing it here. You spend a lot of time with the youth and the young adults. There's like 0 time in your calendar almost, and yet I just want to share real quick that we were over his house the other day, and it was just fellowshipping. People were just hanging out. We were eating, and I've known about Dominic's medical condition, but I didn't know the intensity of it. And I remember we were all sitting down, just having dinner, just having a good time, laughing. I think you were teaching me how to play something on Xbox, and all of a sudden Teresa grabs Dominic and sits him down by the wall and hooks him up to something that looks like a Darth Vader machine. And she puts this mask on him. She turns on this oxygen that's filled with medication. And for like the next 40 minutes, Dominic is just like shaking violently, on that seat, like with a smile on his face, headphones and an iPad. And this is in the middle of everybody just fellowshipping and hanging out. Can you just talk a little bit about what it's like to pursue Jesus with everything that's in you, to answer the call of God, to have 3 children, 2 of which are special needs, and navigate all that as a father? No pressure.
Really, there's no roadmap to it. It came down to one simple thing with me and Teresa was there's never been an option not to serve God. That was never on the table, regardless of any circumstances. God's called us to serve, and we're going to serve at the best of our ability, regardless of the circumstances. And so, having put the kingdom first, now we just say, okay, how do we navigate everything else, knowing that we serve? One of the big things that we instill within our kids is there's no separation between the church and the family. The church is the family. Our kids learn to love this church and love being a part of the church, and we include them in everything. So like when we go to youth camps or youth conferences, Malachi's there and he hangs out with the teenagers. He runs off, Mom, Dad, can I go? Yeah, go hang out. Dominic runs around with the kids, and all of his best friends are here. Like yesterday, I had Presley and Noah running back and forth through my house. I didn't even know they were there. All of a sudden I see them like, hey Noah, hey Presley. But it's when we include them as family, then our families is just one thing altogether. So the work that we do in the church, they just like, well, Dad's helping the family. With Dominic's illness, it's cystic fibrosis, as a lot of you know, and it's an infection in his lungs and his liver. So every day, twice a day, we do these treatments. We call them shaky treatments. That's what Teresa named them. And I guess we just gotten so used to it that we don't notice it until people look at him because it's over there, it's intense, he's breathing, but he's got his iPad, his earphones, and he's jamming out to Queen or Michael Jackson or whatever he's listening to. He's always old school with his music. He don't do none of the new stuff. And he just, for the next 40 minutes, he's in his zone. And really it's systems. It's systems that you come up with to make everything work. And it's my wife, to be honest. My wife is absolutely awesome and amazing. Not to mention super sexy and hot. I mean, You know, God's like truly blessed me with a queen who enables me to do the work that I need to do. So, you know, we work back and forth, and she makes a tremendous impact here. But the system that was created at home to take care of Dominic, she put that into play, and I just learned how to. She labels stuff for me. She's like, look, number 1, number 2, 3, and 4. I'm like, sweet. And so, you know, we when we moved over here, because now we're at the back house and we were driving the kids to school, we just got in the system. We get up at 5:30 in the morning, get the stuff ready, get the boys up, feed them, do the medicine. And like Malachi, you know, he's been diagnosed with ADHD since he was 3, but he's such a tremendous big brother. You know, such a tremendous blessing in the house, and that he takes ownership over his brother and over his sister. So I can say, Malachi, go get your brother his medicine. Malachi, go get the breakfast ready. And sometimes we can be tired and knocked out. And then I'll finally wake up late and Malachi's dressed, Dominic's dressed. Like, you guys eat? Like, yeah, we ate. You guys brush your teeth? No, like, we can skip that one, we're all right. And I think a big thing for us is not focusing on their conditions. You know, the world will place a focus on their condition. They will say, you know, your kid, he's not gonna be able to do this, he's not gonna be able to do that. And we speak life over them, always. You know, in the car, Teresa has her prayer she does with the boys. They all know the fruits of the Spirit. That's their thing they do with her. When I'm with them, I say, repeat after me, I'm strong. They're like, I'm strong. I'm courageous. I'm courageous. I'm confident. I'm confident. God's got my back. And they're fired. Like, we get fired up before we get out the car. Like, all right, now go crush your day. And like, you know, we build that into them so they don't think about their illnesses. And we don't want them to ever them to look at themselves as less than. But God created them for something special. And to be honest with you, Pastor, it's just, this is our life. Everybody in this room is our life, and we love having them over. We love being a part of it. And so it never becomes really work. And it's just, it's the best thing that God has placed in our lives, and we just seek it out with everything we got.
Come on, that's so good. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. You know, you said something that this is our life, and I think there's this mindset, and I don't know where it came from outside of Satan, because a lot of times people will say things like, oh, well, I can't do that, or I can't be there, or I can't love on because I'm spending time with my family, right? And so somehow, some way, someone started to say that my family time is separated from the kingdom family. And so they started to bring this division without even knowing it. Well, the reason why I can't do that, or the reason why I won't do that, or the reason why I don't feel I'm called to that is because I have to provide for my family, and this is what's most important for me. And so this is, and I need to spend family time. Yeah. So I can't lead because I need to do family time. I can't love because I got to do family time. I can't do these things when in reality, this is our family time right now. So it shouldn't even be called church service. It should be called family time on Sunday, because we are a family. As you heard last Sunday, we talked about our Father who art in heaven, right? He's our Father. We're brothers and sisters. And so we trained up, Christian and Justine to never look at church as somewhere that we go to for the sake of going and receiving and leaving. But we taught our children when we raised them that we're going to go spend time with family. So they know if I'm counseling, it's family time. If I'm preaching, it's family time, because this is kingdom family, because we have a kingdom Father. And the moment we start separating our own personal family time from the kingdom family, then we're setting ourselves outside of the family and already causing division without even knowing it, and giving ourselves an excuse to separate ourselves from the call of God on our lives. So I'm blown away when I see people like Pastor Max and Teresa.
Yeah, saying something to that same thought, me and Teresa's, our extended family, we dealt with a lot of jealousy, because so much of our time is invested here. And it's like, you guys are just always with the church. And I had to really sit down with my family, like, listen, you guys are the family that I was born into, and I appreciate that. But this is the family that we built, and that, God has continued to build in us. I look at the youth as sons and daughters. I look at, the young adults as my younger brothers and younger sisters, that I get to be a part of their life and guide their life. Like, every time we get to go to a graduation, every time we get to do a wedding, there's nothing I want more than to just see people grow more and draw nearer to God. And, having the life that me and Teresa have is just, we have to make that shift in our head that the two are not separate, but one. And then I always invite my family, like, this can be part of your family too. The door's wide open, but you know where I'll be. And, you know, I know that's a hard line to draw in the sand sometimes because you're like, well, that's my family. But I just look at what God is going to ask of me. When I said I want to be a leader, when I said I accept you as Lord and Savior, when I arrived to him, I'm like, well, you know, I would have, but I had this and I had that. I don't think he's just going to accept that excuse. And that probably comes from my military background because we didn't get a lot of room for excuses. And I just want to be able to say, God, I did my absolute best. And that's where it really comes from. And then I deposit that into my kids. So my kids love this church. That's why they call people uncle and auntie, and those are cousins, and they love this church. Malachi's a part of everything, and you know, Dominic wants to be a part. Like Dominic will tell us on a day off, we supposed to go to church today. Like it's Saturday. No, we're not. Like yeah, I want to go to church though. Like, and do what? Like, but I think parents, that's the thing. You just have to teach your kids to don't command your kids to love God. Show them how to love God by how you love God.
Yeah, it's good. So good. Anybody taking notes, taking some stuff away from this? Last but not least, Jimmy Hardesty is in the house. Come on, man. Did you bring anything to barbecue today? Because I know you'd be throwing down.
No, I didn't. I didn't come prepped. I was hoping there was something already going on.
Yeah. It's
Next year.
just a prop. Just a prop. Okay. So Jimmy, Jimmy's got an interesting story. He's married to Yvonne Hardesty, and believe it or not, Jimmy and Yvonne was the first wedding I did at this location over 10 years ago now. Yeah, or close to 10 years.
September will be 10 years.
September will be 10 years. Come on. Look at your boo up here. Check him out. And hey, stop the googly eye stuff though. That's for later. Anyways, so easy. So Jimmy and Yvonne have an interesting story because you weren't raised in a Christian home.
No.
You didn't have a Christian family. No. And you have an interesting testimony on you and Yvonne's relationship. So tell me a little bit about how it was that you came to know Yvonne and who Yvonne was to you in that relationship.
So I moved out to Rancho Chucamongas to go to school. And one of my very close classmates was her older brother's best friend. And so he introduced me to meth. And one day we decided to go pick
Introduced you to what?
to meth.
To meth.
Yes,
Okay.
methamphetamines. And so he took me along one day to go pick up, and that was the drug dealer right there.
Wow. So she was cartel.
She was.
So what you're saying is that she was your pusher, and you would purchase off of her and go and get high and sell.
I became her best customer.
That got really weird.
Wow. And today you're leaders at Restoration Life.
Yes. Praise God.
Come on, how many believe God could do all things? Right? So you came to Redondo Beach.
Yes.
You got saved.
Yep.
And then you started coming here with her, or she followed you here?
Well, everything was spiraling downhill because of the drugs and everything. So we lost our home and everything, and I was done. And I wanted to start fresh, and I needed God. So I left her, and me and Angie, my youngest daughter, we moved back out here with my parents in Gardena, and then that's when I found you. And so I started, attending services regularly with you, and then we started working things out. And so then I invited her out, and her first service with us was here on Easter, our first Easter service here.
Wow. And then you got married, right? But Yvonne didn't come by herself. She too had children.
Yeah.
How many children did you have? Three. You still have them, right? Oh, just making sure. yeah. And then you had Angie.
Yep.
Right? And now you got little baby James.
Yes.
Right? Here, I was leading up to this because I want to know. Here's two people that didn't grow up in a Christian home, didn't have godly. I mean, you did. Your mom was saved. Your dad saved. but you rebelled, right? You backslider, you, and then somehow you were able to come back together in Christ. You got married, but she's got boys, you've got a daughter, and now you're a blended family.
Right.
And that has its own complications and battles. Can you just briefly share as a father what you did to help the family come together as one?
So,
And did it happen overnight?
no, it's still being worked on because they're as they're teenagers, kids grow up and they go through in and out phases. So we have to continuously instill in them and love on them. Don't ever stop, don't ever change. Even though you might not see the fruits or what you've been putting into them, you will see it eventually. So the hardest task is, can I share a quick little story? So one of the hardest tasks is when we became one, okay, my stepkids were calling me dad along with mine, but then the other side of the family didn't allow it. They said, oh no, he's not your dad, you can't call him dad. So they would call me Jimmy. And so I pulled him off to the side one-on-one and I talked with him. I said, why is it you call me Jimmy when your dad's around? They said, we're not allowed to call you dad. So the dad's white. So I pulled a little trick on him. I said, that's okay. If you want, you can call me Papi. And so
But Yvonne was already doing that. Hey! Sorry, go ahead.
So anyways, so they would call me Papi, and just so that way we were all still one-minded and one love, I had my own kids call me Papi. I didn't want them to only be able to call me dad, and then, you know what I mean? So we put the family together as one. We're one unit, right? So we got to work together. And so that's one thing that I did with them when they were young, and until they got older. They're like, I don't call you Papi.
Here's an interesting question, and we're running out of time, but we just can't thank you guys for just the wisdom that you brought to this house this morning. When you have, for lack of better words, two sets of children that are learning to honor you and see you in that light, at the same time get along with each other, how would you guys carry or navigate disciplinary as one for what seemingly in the beginning was two different sides that were becoming one? Because I know just from experience and in counseling that a lot of people, well, I don't like the way he disciplines, or I don't like the way she talks to my children, or, you know, and it was always kind of like, these are mine, these are yours, as opposed to these are ours. Because if the two become one, the family becomes one as well.
Right.
And so how did you navigate that language with Yvonne when it was time to bring correction, instruction, discipline?
Right, well, that's a great question. So one thing that we did is, we made sure not to discuss anything or have any kind of, what do they call that?
Argument?
No, we don't argue. We don't argue. Oh. But we made sure not to have any of that discussion in front of the kids. So what we would do is we would go behind closed doors and we would discuss everything first. Hey, I don't agree with this, or, hey, I think this is how we should tackle it. And that's what we did, because it was a teamwork, and so we that's what we did. And instilling that in each other, we became like-minded, and we agreed, and that's how we handled all the situations.
All right, in closing, what would you say to the blended families in this house this morning? Because we know that our church is made up of a lot of blended families.
Yeah.
And I would say, what would you say to that father that's there to be a leader over a blended family? How would you encourage him if he's not seeing that take place in his home? What would you say to him?
So I would say, first of all, pray. Pray, pray, pray. That is very important. And second of all, love. Unconditional love. Because that love is so powerful. It can make mountains move. I mean, I just, like I said, I never loved one more than the other. I love them all the same. They are my kids. Even though we're called stepdads, there's a reason why we're called stepdads, because we stepped up.
Hey!
With the mic drop.
Can we give them a big round of applause? Come on. That was a mic drop moment right there.
With the mic drop.
If I could have the worship team come back up. Man, how good was that? How good was that, everybody? Man, so much wisdom.
That's how you close.
So much wisdom. Just amazing, amazing. You know, I remember, I didn't come from a Christian family. I came from a Catholic family that believed in God, but wasn't necessarily obedient to God in all things. And I remember growing up and being very rebellious, and of course leaving at a very young age because I was bumping heads with my dad. And I remember, saying to Roxanne, I never want to be like that. My dad was always gone at work. He was always gone building, the family business. And so for him, the way that he showed love was making money. And a lot of women don't understand this today, that a man's love language to his family is working hard. That's our love language. We work hard. We might not know how to say I love you all the time, and we might not know how to communicate our love to our spouse or to our children or to our great-grandchildren or any child in our house for that matter. But a lot of times what we do as dads is we try to show our love to our family through our love language, and that's work, 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 work. And I just want to say to you that that's not good enough. Let me just say this to you real quick. And I'm saying this to all the fathers in the house and all the future fathers in the house, that working hard is never going to be good enough for your spouse, and it's never going to be good enough for your children, because money is a means to an end. But there's something that God has called us to as fathers that God holds us accountable to. We are the spiritual leadership of our house. All the men that are fathers and husbands, you're the pastors of your house. And so you have to shepherd your home properly. You're not only supposed to bring provision to the house, but you're also, even more importantly, supposed to bring relationship with Jesus to the house. And I want to be honest and transparent with you. I did my best, as best I could anyways, growing as a young man into this father role, and I struggled a lot through it. I struggled a lot through it because of my upbringing. I struggled a lot through it because of my personality, because of my views, the way that I would interpret things. And I found myself saying things and doing things that I never wanted to say and I never wanted to do, things that I'd say, I'll never do that, I'll never be that. And then unknowingly I became that. And as years went on and, the kids were growing, I was always at work. Roxanne was always a domestic technician. God bless her for all that she did in raising our children. But there came a season where, I started to be a little bit combative with my son, and my son started becoming a little bit combative with me. And I didn't understand. I've never cussed out their mom in front of them, or ever. I've never, ever, let me just clarify that. Last night didn't count. Anyways, no, I'm just kidding. I've never disrespected their mom in front of them. In fact, if we disagreed, we went to a room and we disagreed and we talked it out. All that my children have ever seen, I think, is me love their mother and honor her the way that she deserves to be honored as a child of God. And so when they started to rebel and do some of the things that we never taught them, we never showed them, I started to internally take that upon myself as a failure, because I started thinking, God, I serve you, I love you, I give to you, I lay down my life for you, I love my wife, I love my children. Why are they responding this way now? What is it about life right now that causes them to respond? I mean, yes, we pioneered church and we did all those things, but they can count on one hand how many times we weren't there for a game. And ministry was never something that came before them. They just knew that they were a part of the ministry, and so they grew up in that environment. And I just realized that my son and I were bumping heads because, he's an alpha, and I'm an alpha. I'm the big dog in our house, and he's like a little puppy. I don't know if I saw him earlier. Is he back there? You back there? Hey, boy. And I didn't realize that he and I were bumping heads because he was becoming a man. He was becoming a man at a young age, just the way that I was forced to become a man at a young age. But Christian grew up really, really fast because of the youth that he was around and just the wisdom that he had in his head, but at the same time, the DNA that I deposited into him. You're welcome. And he and I started bumping heads. We started bumping heads. I started to see myself as a failure because I never wanted to have a bad relationship with my son. And I never remember, the biggest word of wisdom that I ever received was from my beautiful wife. She said, you're just gonna love him through everything. That's all you're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna love him through everything, and he'll come back to us. And sure enough, he did. And today he's my biggest hero, my best friend, We talk all the time. But, it was something that God restored. It was something that he restored. And so I want to encourage every dad that's in this room that if you've done all that you can to do right before your children and you still bumping heads, let me give you the word of wisdom that I received from my wife. Just love them through it. Don't push them away. Draw them close. And just love them and let God deal with them. And let all the years that you've deposited into them and loved them through, let that kick in on its own. You can't force it. You can't force it. But God has a way of restoring relationship. Can anybody say amen?